Oyo boyos, and happy Iowa Day. Now, I know what you're thinking. That's right, I can hear your thoughts. What is Iowa Day? Well, today is the 25th anniversary of Slipknot dropping the album Iowa. Yeah, you know how some people have weird self-made traditions? This is one of mine. For some reason, a few years ago, I started listening to this album on its release date. I think it coincided too with Doug's Rose of the Sea Otter celebration. And over time, it just sort of stuck. And since it's Iowa Day, I wanted to do a Slipknot video. I've talked about them and made reference to the band in the past, but I've yet to make a video dedicated to them, which is crazy considering they are one of my absolute favorite bands of all time. And I figured the best way to celebrate such an occasion was to rank every single mask worn by the band. Lord help me! So even ignoring things like the huge amount of .5 clowns and masks that weathered over time, basically becoming a new mask, we're still looking at over 200 masks between the classic 9, the ex-members, and the new guys. And frankly, as cool as it would be to do all of them right in a row, I don't think it makes a whole lot of sense practically. But since I still want to do this video eventually, I think it'd be best to break it down, member by member, going through the classic lineup we all know and love, all culminating into the master list, where we'll have them all. A couple things I want to let you know right now. This list will not include oddballs nor the purgatory masks. You know the ones, the giant potato-looking masks burned in the psychosocial music video. Nor will I include the death masks. This is mainly because, except for the oddballs, they all have this kind of matching feeling to them. I'll eventually talk about them in the master list, but it makes more sense to talk about them as a group, as opposed to on their own. And with that preamble out of the way, let's get into it. Starting this large multi-video project, I'm going to go with the classic order I personally love of 870-621-345, which means we'll be starting today with Slipknot's frontman, the great big mouth himself, Corey Taylor. Corey's masks are very interesting to me, as despite how impactful Corey Taylor is to me as a musician and a frontman, I find his masks very hard to place, as they're all built around the idea that he has to, sing with it on. Though bizarrely enough, I'd argue he has the most variation in his masks of any other member, with maybe the exception of Sid. I also feel like the quality of his masks are entirely independent of the quality the album they're associated with. Altogether, we're looking at about 17 masks to discuss. Well, technically 16, but I guess there's a bit of an anomaly I'll have to discuss. But enough of that. Let's take a look at Mr. Faith.
I've never been fucking called Faith.
Taylor himself, starting with the undisputed bottom spot of this list. Number 17. Now, many of you might not know this mask even exists, as it was only used for like 3 or so shows before being put back into the proverbial shelf never to be seen again. And that mask is, of course, the 2011 Sonosphere Slam Dummy. I guess this is best a time to rip off the bandage, but I'm not as obsessed with the dreaded Corey masks as a lot of others are. Spoilers for later in this list, but my favorite mask of Corey Taylor's has dreads, so I don't really think the dreads are the issue. It's the sculpt, and honestly, even if you think Corey's only good masks are the ones with dreads, taking a look at this mask, it looks like he's wearing a bootleg. Honestly, watching this footage is surreal, hearing an All Hope Is Gone era Taylor wearing this goofy-ass mask. He didn't even wear it for the full performance at Sonosphere, the mask's most famous performance, and I think that says it all. This isn't the last dreaded mask Corey Taylor ever wore, but it is unquestionably the worst. Number 16. Well, here we have the one I'm sure we all expected to find at the bottom, the initial "We Are Not Your Kind" mask. We've all seen the memes, with the way his chipmunk cheeks pop out. Yes, it looks like an empty milk jug. But what I hate most here is how the concept was good. Like, as the mask evolved to more properly fit his face, it actually rose to be one of his coolest. But by the time those fixes were made, the paint jobs he did just got less and less interesting. Like, he front-loaded all of his coolest designs to the weakest iteration of the mask. And it'd be so sad if it weren't so goofy. Like I said, it goes places, but this initial version is just not it. Number 15. So, when Corey Taylor initially joined Slipknot back in 1997, he didn't really have a mask to wear, so he put some liquid latex on his face with a bit of a paint job and called it a day. Certainly a unique look, but also not even in the same ballpark as the next mask. Honestly, all the masks from here are either just okay or actually good, so lots of good things to look forward to from here. Number 14. Oh god. Once again, I'm here to remind you that lists on YouTube are opinion-based. My opinion might not align with yours. With that being said, we have Corey Taylor's initial Iowa mask. I am so sorry. Yeah, so I decided to treat different paint jobs as different entries, as they are different masks. Especially these Iowa masks, as they are so different from each other. And plus, the best iteration of this mask, in my opinion, is so beyond what we initially got, it's insane. Because the first one we got, I mean, he looks like the Ninja Turtles, bro. I just can't. This mask looks so bulbous on his head, like he's Mickey Mouse or Chuck E. Cheese. I can't tell if this initial mask is the same as the Left Behind iteration of the mask. The Left Behind version seems a little darker, but I think that just could be shading from the music video. I just don't see the same appeal everyone else seems to have for this one. I feel like this mask is beloved because of how Corey sounded in this era. Cause yeah, he sounds fucking awesome. But I think too, this mask having dreads kind of put Corey into a hole when Volume 3 would eventually arrive. And even to this day. Like I said, when the paint job is good, this sculpt is great. But here, I just can't justify it any higher. Number 13. Oh man, I suck. Yeah, I have the 0.5 V1 over an Iowa mask. I know. Just hear me out. This is another one I feel so weird on, because the sculpt for this thing is fucking goofy. While on the other hand, this is probably Corey's strongest concept for a mask. The idea that he's been wearing the mask so long that when he tries to take it off, there's just another mask beneath it. It's really compelling, especially in the 0.5 era. I think that concept holds it way higher than it otherwise would be. Because with all the odd decisions, like the long neck, the headpiece with way too high a forehead, the chin part staying on the mask when he takes off the top mask, this one definitely needed another once-over before being produced. Because as it is, it's cool, but a bit odd. Number 12. Now I get the practicality here, but taking the top off, the End So Far mask, really doesn't do it any favors. Especially because Corey's hair was just not agreeing with him in this era. I don't think that makes it a bad look. Just compared to the full-headed version, it can't stand up. Number 11. Now we get to a kind of a mystery. This was almost 7 years ago at this point. Wait, 7 years ago? Well, anyway, right before the world closed down for COVID, Slipknot did some concerts in Europe. After all the things he did with the We Are Not Your Kind mask, he decides to debut this new version for these shows. Basically a recast close to the last iteration we got, just with less translucence, more padding, and a whole new do. It sits a lot tighter on the face, and honestly, it just looks a little off. I don't know, this mask is just fine. Works for what it is, just not a whole lot going on. Number 10. Alright, we're on to the top 10. And now I get to discuss the next Iowa mask on the list. This one known as the Pledge of Allegiance Iowa Corey, as it was used in the Pledge of Allegiance tour of 2001. Already a lot stronger than the previous Iowa mask. I like the white to it, as well as the black paint smudges around the eyes. The face paint on the lips is a little wonky, but otherwise I think this mask is a clear win. Number 9. So, fun fact, I was writing my thoughts on the top 3 when I realized I didn't talk about Corey's second 0.5 mask. Which is funny to think about because, like, how horrifying would it be if I sent the video out and people were anticipating this one and they got to that point. It's still a good look, to be honest. Still continuing with the whole mask on a mask idea. But frankly, the underface on this one just looks a lot better. Ironically, I think when he has both pieces on, it feels a little worse because it's just so bulky. But overall, I feel they really nailed the concept here. Way better than the original. The design is stronger, just a better showing overall. So yeah, 0.5 V2 is alright in my book. Number 8. Ah, how fitting. The true one that started it all being number 8. Corey's number. I really think the dummy's strength comes from how eerie it looks when you can't see his eyes. Its aura is just extra ominous. Take Wait and Bleed and the frickin' album cover for proof. I'd argue this is one of the first masks when you think of Mr. T himself. Wait, I know a lot of people are probably confused as to why I ranked this one way lower than most, especially with the praise I've given it. I just never personally enjoyed this mask nearly as much as the mask that followed immediately after. Though honestly, it's still an incredible showing to an incredibly iconic look. And if the dummy is at this point, can you imagine how cool the next mask's gotta be? Number 7. I know, a We Are Not Your Kind mask over the dummy? Really? Yeah, so initially this mask was just not it. But when they finally stitched the cheeks in and it was able to function properly, we got to witness it in its full glory. Corey's hair getting longer to headbang around, the face isn't puffing out like a goddamn fish. I'm glad Corey was able to take a complete 180 with this look, because it is so appropriate for an album like We Are Not Your Kind, where Corey himself is at his most vulnerable. Having a translucent mask after an album cycle where his mask was a mask behind another mask, it shows tremendous growth. He no longer wishes to hide. It's kind of poetic, actually. The thing that holds this mask back, besides going against the absolute juggernauts that follow after, is that, like I said, it really feels like Corey exhausted his best paint jobs for it in its weakest state. All the looks it had with the improvements were just white, with some minor touches here and there. Also, I think the initial idea with the bolted cheeks looked a little better, though I don't really know how I feel putting it as its own entry because it was used for like 2 things total. But I do like the look a little more, even though I'm sure it was changed for practicality sense. But yeah, the We Are Not Your Kind V2 rework, whatever you want to call it, it's pretty alright. Number 6. Now, there were a lot of versions of the Volume 3 mask, but I think they're all homogenized in such a way it would feel weird to not group them together. It's a simple concept, a green, sewn together face. But I really think this is one of the most important masks in Slipknot history. It's easily one of the most iconic, especially in its association with the iconic music video for Duality, which I'd argue is Slipknot's best video, by far. Frankly, all of the Volume 3 videos are peak, but that's the discussion for another day. I like, too, how it really allowed Corey's hair to come out. And while it's not part of the mask, it is a part of the look. That crazy colored long hair accompanying this mask is what truly sets it up for success. I even own a replica, so you know this mask is beloved. The only thing that really goes against it depends on what you believe when it comes to Corey himself in this era. I've heard many different stories and watched many different videos, all talking about why Corey sounded so different in this era compared to any other. Some say Corey blew out his voice and had to relearn how to scream. Some say Corey just wanted to do something different. Some even say the way the mask sat on his face meant he had to contort his face differently to scream with it on. Regardless of what you believe, this mask is sick. No pun intended. Unless. Number 5. Now that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, the nice, clean disaster piece version of the Iowa Corey is, in my opinion, the best it gets. Like, looking at the shots and images you get with it, it just has this undeniable aura the other Iowa masks just don't for some reason. I think it's the cleanness of the look that really elevates this one. Stripping back all the color on this mask really works. I love seeing the scars around the eyes and the lips. It doesn't hurt that I also associate it with such an iconic performance like Disaster Pieces. Yeah, not much to say on this one. I'm glad to see that they eventually found a look here that really worked. Number 4. Alright, you knew this one was coming. Apparently, from sources both trustworthy and less so, Corey's All Hope Is Gone mask is described as the most divisive Slipknot mask of all time. And I mean proper divisive, not controversial, half-baked or nothing. I'm talking people either love or hate the All Hope Is Gone mask, usually for the same reasons. Corey wore it for a very long time, the longest he's worn any of his other masks. And it's super simple compared to literally every other mask he's ever done. That being said, I can't deny, this mask is iconic for a reason. I really think the simplicity of this mask is what works here. There's not really a discernible expression, and so it fits every type of song Slipknot's made. And unlike the End So Far mask, where the top being open weakens the look, having the top open works perfectly here. I've seen pictures of a full-headed test version, and it's just not the same. Corey's hair popping out actually gives the mask a lot of personality, especially as he changed it a lot over the many years of its service. I appreciate that this mask has a lot of wiggle room for his mouth, because at this point, Corey had never sounded better. Maybe not as angry, but certainly as powerful. Overall, I think I summed up what I like about this piece. It's not my absolute favorite, but I had to give it its flowers. Number 3. Yeah, this is how big the difference is between keeping the top on versus off. I'll be honest, when I saw Corey bust this one out in 2021, my jaw was on the floor. So seeing a lot of the members also trying new things was just really cool. And this mask in particular was probably my favorite at the time. I mean, just look at it. I remember all the way back in 2017, Corey did an interview talking about being inspired by the Dr. Decker mask. So much so that you can see a fan wearing the mask in a Blink and You'll Miss It shot in the Solway Firth music video. As a sidebar, that had to be intentional. To finally see Corey act on this inspiration and have it come out this clean is awesome. And I think it's down to the eyes. They're just so sinister. It's an excellent look, only dwarfed by the literal 2 best masks Corey ever wore. Masks, wow, that's a hard word for my voice to say, front to back. Number 2. Now, you'd be surprised at how hard it was to pick between these 2 masks. Or maybe it isn't. I mean, it's between Corey's most iconic look and the look that made everyone go, holy shit, Slipknot is back. And they're both pretty similar too. Same color, same dreads, just this rotting sack Corey threw on his face. To a point in my mind, they're basically tied. But for the sake of this list, our silver medal has to go to the 25th anniversary mask. And it earned its spot. It's funny how after Sonosphere, everyone thought there was no way Corey would have a good mask with dreads. And then this mask shows up and everyone was wondering why he ever gave them up. And I mean, this look is just that incredible. From the backlit eyes to that gnarled facial expression, it really feels like Corey is channeling that version of himself straight out of the late 90s and early 2000s. And Corey sounds monstrous in this mask. His screams have never sounded darker, only comparable to the Iowa era. And even then, hate me if you want, I personally think he surpasses it here. Honestly, I kind of wanted to give it number 1, just because I like the idea that sometimes the new things can stack up to their predecessors. That being said, I just didn't feel right putting the top dog anywhere else but number 1. Number 1. The Ghost Glow is Corey Taylor. We all know this. The mask became his during this era, like how Clown became the West G. When I think of Slipknot, and especially Corey at the top of their game, I think of that damn performance at Dynamo 2000. The true moment Slipknot announced themselves to the world. Honestly, what more is there to say? We all know why the Ghost Glow is this high. It's confusing, it's unsettling, it's gross. I love it. Yeah, I'm sorry I don't really have a lot to say here. It just feels weird having the number 1 spot be so brief, but like, what can I even say that no one else already has? It's the Ghost Glow. We all kind of get it. Whew. Well, that's my list. Feel free to let me know what y'all's order is in the comments. Tune in next time for me to talk about Mr. 7, and I promise it'll be longer than 3 minutes. I'm not sure when I'll see y'all again, but I will. Take care of yourselves.